Welcome to the Praetorian Guard product demonstration. Praetorian Guard is a Microsoft-based network management, network monitoring, and employee monitoring system. Praetorian Guard's product features include network monitoring, network management, and user auditing modules. The network monitoring includes event log monitoring, hardware inventory, software inventory, PC performance including RAM usage, CPU usage, and hard drive usage, as well as operating system information such as users, groups, and services. Under network management, the product includes an enterprise backup system, which will allow you to back up all of your PCs or servers to a NAS or SAS device. Windows scripting, which allows you to run Windows scripts across your network on a scheduled basis. SQL Server maintenance, as well as SQL Server scripts. The user auditing includes desktop monitoring features, which takes desktop screenshots of users, application auditing, website usage, keylog auditing, activity analysis, and session auditing. All of these features can be used or not used depending on the PC and the features that you need to run on that PC or server. You can use any one feature or all the features. It's up to you. The product is licensed in a hybrid SaaS licensing fashion. What this means is the product is licensed on a monthly basis, like a typical SaaS product. However, you actually download the product and install it on your server and run it on your network. There is no web-hosted feature that we host here at Praetorian Guard, and we do not have access to any of the data that you collect on your network. The product is licensed on a 30-day licensing process, which is basically monthly. It's granular licensing by PC and feature. You can license remotely and use locally, and it is an extremely low cost pricing for the product, which saves you money. These lead to an immediate return on investment. You have no expensive upfront cost of purchasing software. You have no long-term commitment, as it's a month-to-month 30-day leasing process. You pay only for the PCs you monitor and the features you use on each of those PCs or servers. And the savings is over competitive products is extremely compelling if you review any products on the market, whether it be event logging or SQL Server maintenance, etc. In addition, out of all the products on the internet, Praetorian Guard includes many products that already exist, but it's all in one product, and the licensing is completely new in our approach. This allows you to get many products that you'd have to go and purchase separately on the internet and set up separately and manage separately in one simple, easy-to-use product with one easy-to-use interface. In effect, Praetorian Guard's revolutionary approach to licensing and feature selection by PC and server makes it rocket ahead of other competitive products on the market. Praetorian Guard's product components. There are three basic user interfaces when you install the product. The first is the System Administration Console. This is the main console for administering the Praetorian Guard system. All setup and maintenance of the system occurs in this console. The Network Administration Console. This console is where all monitoring and management of the Microsoft network occurs. This includes event logs, hardware and software inventory, backups, and more. User Auditing Console. This console is where all user or desktop monitoring is viewed for the system. This includes screenshots, website usage, application usage, and more. These are separated for security purposes. You can assign security rights to any user to any of these consoles and any of the screens within the consoles. You can limit those who have access to user auditing from those who have network administration usage. The granular security of the product allows you to exactly configure the system to match how your organization needs the security to be configured. This is especially important for larger organizations where duties are separated amongst more and more people. The service and database components. The main prefix server is the service that runs on the main Praetorian Guard server. There can be only one prefix server per licensed Praetorian Guard install. However, you can have unlimited Praetorian Guard installations on your network. Tribune servers. There can be any number of Tribune servers licensed and installed, but only one can exist on each PC or server. You must have at least one Tribune server. These manage any number of Centurions and collect data from those Centurions that it manages. Centurion service or services. Every computer managed by Praetorian Guard or monitored needs a Centurion. A computer can have only one Centurion installed. And finally, Microsoft SQL Server. This is the required database for the Praetorian Guard system. Praetorian Guard supports all versions of SQL Server, including the free SQL Express version. Amongst these service and databases here, it's important to understand the quantities that a given user can have on his network. The prefix server, you may only have one for a given licensed installation, any number of Tribunes, and any number of Centurions. You must, however, have at least one Tribune and one Centurion to manage a network. Let's take a look at a few possible configurations for different size networks. The first layout we'll look at is a Praetorian Guard layout for a small business. Here we'll have a single PC that's running the prefix server, the Tribune server, as well as the database engine. This one computer will collect all of the information from all the PCs and servers which are running Centurions. Notice here we have the Tribune and the prefect and the database on one box, each communicating to a given Centurion on a PC. Another option is the small to medium business. Here we have a prefix server and Microsoft SQL Server on one box, and we have a separate PC running the Tribune server. This single Tribune PC is then collecting data from all of the Centurions on all of the PCs and servers. This is great for situations where the Tribune will need more resources and should be dedicated to a separate PC as opposed to running on the actual SQL server or prefix server. Another option is one for medium businesses. Here we can have any number of Tribunes communicating to a dedicated SQL server which is also running the prefix server on that SQL server box. Here any number of Tribunes can then manage the appropriate Centurions assigned to it. This allows us to scale up. Next we see a medium enterprise. Here we have even more Tribunes running, and a prefix server and a Microsoft SQL Server on one dedicated server box. We recommend a dedicated SQL Server at this point, while it can still run the prefix server, just so it can handle all the database connectivity needs. As you expand out with more and more Tribunes, the SQL Server must be able to handle all the data being pumped into it by each Tribune PC. The Tribune PCs can be servers or PCs. We recommend PCs so to allow you to scale them out more and save you money. And finally we have the larger enterprise sample. This layout has each server running on its own dedicated box. The prefix server is running on its own box. The dedicated Microsoft SQL Server is dedicated just to acting as a SQL Server database. And then we have each Tribune. And you can see as the communication points, the arrows point between each box. The prefix server is communicating with Tribunes, and Tribunes are also communicating with the database server. This allows us to scale out to any number of Tribunes managing any number of Centurions. The only limitation of a Tribune versus the number of Centurions it's managing is how much data they have to process. What I mean by this is depending on the actual features you've turned on to those PCs all influence the amount of work the Tribune must do for all those Centurions. You should be able to handle it up to 50 to 100, maybe even more, depending on the features you're collecting. For example, if you're just doing event log collection, You can probably put many more PCs on a given Tribune than if you're also doing user auditing and desktop screenshots. This is the end of demonstration part 1. Please look for demonstration part 2 to continue.